bunch of stories. Extra, extra, hear all about it. Hey guys, and welcome to the podcast that knows it's always Joey. I'm Matthew, and joining me is the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater on all platforms. Dad, what do you mean by that?
Hey guys, how you doing? What I mean by that is it's always Joey. I watched a documentary about the Roblox oof, and in the documentary they were just going to cover that, but it led down a whole rabbit hole. It's a very good documentary. I watched it twice. I watched it just to see how it was because I had heard good things, and then I watched it again with my wife because I was like, "This is fucking nuts! You have to watch this." And yeah, but yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much, but there was a sound designer named Joey Curris, and he designed a lot of sounds. But if you listen to his old boss, he didn't design anything, and his boss designed all of it. But man, it was something. If you type in Roblox oof, it's one of the top results. It's like 2 hours long. But yeah, they went into deep dive because it just, this big wormhole opened up under the documentarian when he was just researching that simple topic, and he found just a web of deceit all over the place. And it was fun. It's a fun documentary. But yeah, outside of just what I meant by that little blurb, I'm doing good. Been playing games, been working, doing all sorts of fun stuff.
That's really cool. Why didn't you invite me to watch the documentary? Documentary?
Well, because it's beyond your understanding at your age.
Oh, okay. And from Twitch's graveyard, we have Gavin.
What's up?
How are you doing?
I'm alright.
Well, that's good. Good. This is Extra Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, March 19th, 2023. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefing-room. Let's get to some news. And my dad did not have a lot of time to make a doc, so I'm having to find the stories. Oh, here's a fun one. Starfield has been rated R18 plus in Australia for high impact drug use. The same classification board previously gave Skyrim a 15 plus rating. When rating games, the board breaks down each game into 6 categories: sex, nudity, themes, language, violence, and drug use, and rates their potential impact on players. While Starfield's rating noted there is no sex and very mild nudity, ooh la la, it also noted a moderate impact for themes and bad language, as well as strong impact for violence. However, Under the drug use category, the board gave its highest rating, high impact, pushing the game to an R18 plus classification. It's not clear what the drug use entails or what makes it so severe in the eyes of the ratings board. Means it's illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to buy the game, and may also include content that may be offensive to sections of the adult community. Yeah, so what do you guys think about Starfield being 18 plus?
It's interesting. It's certainly not the first Bethesda game to have drugs. What was it? It was Fallout 4 had Jet, was it?
Hmm?
And then previous Fallout games also had drugs in it. But it certainly doesn't help Xbox, because it's like AO for American audiences, adult only, is the equivalent rating, and it really limits not only who can buy it, but it limits the sales because only a certain amount of people can buy it. And let's face it, while there is a large adult audience, the audience for people under the age of 18 is always going to be larger. And you can't target that audience anymore. So, what do you think, Gavin?
I'm just curious as to what the hell they did in the game that made them give them the highest rating when it comes to drug use.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to get blasted. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's like I'm sitting there thinking of all the different times drugs have been used in games and like what the fuck did they do?
I mean, yeah. GTA 5, you can go on a peyote trip.
Yeah.
Also in GTA 5, I'm pretty sure you can go on an acid trip too, where you're fighting clowns and aliens. That's the same rating it was given to GTA, so it could be okay. GTA is like the second best-selling. GTA 5 specifically is like the second best-selling game of all time. So,
Right.
Depending on how they treat the game, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but certainly is not a great thing either. Here we go. We'll go ahead and do this. FIFA. I'll take over for this, Matthew. FIFA president says EA Sports FC rival will be the best e-game for any girl or boy. Gianni Infantino reiterated the plans for a new series of FIFA games that will be superior to EA's. This actually is because FIFA and EA did not renew their contract with each other after nearly 30 years of being together. So every EA soccer game, as it's called here in the States, is going to be called EA Sports FC for football club. But FIFA president Gianni Infantino said the new FIFA game, the FIFA 25, 26, 27, and so on, will always be the best e-game for any girl or boy. We will have news very soon. I can assure you that the only authentic real game that has the FIFA name will be the best one available. FIFA name is not only global, the constant is the FIFA name, and it will remain forever the best. They also, in November, said that they would be looking into making 4 Web3 blockchain titles, which but yeah, what do you think of the best e-game for girls and boys being FIFA?
I think that's a little egotistical of them.
I mean, it is FIFA. I'll be completely honest. From everything that I've seen and heard, it sounds like FIFA. There's 2 reasons FIFA and EA did not come to terms with each other. One is FIFA asked way too much money. Like they saw how much the FIFA games were making, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna need you to give us like half." And it's like,
You're gonna ask large sums of money from the cheapest fucking gaming company in the fucking world?
yes, exactly. But the other thing is, man, FIFA is that organization has just been hit by controversy after controversy, and it also looks much better for EA to separate from them than it is to keep working with them.
Right.
But yeah, you're not kidding about you're gonna ask so much money for the cheapest company. But the other thing that strikes me is they did mention back in November that they were looking at 4 FIFA style games using Web3, which again, we don't have to reiterate our thoughts on Web3, but the how do you make 4 FIFA games? I don't like. Are you talking about the yearly iterations, or are you talking like you're gonna make 4 separate soccer games? Like I don't understand. Like what are you saying here? Also they calling them e-games. They're not e-games. Where are you getting e-games from? It's esports and video games.
Yeah, games.
Yeah, video game. A new Konami trademark could refer to Castlevania. The trademark is for the phrase Project Zircon, that was applied for last week and published today by Konami. For a large number of fields, including software for commercial video game machines. Zircon is a item found in Castlevania, starting with Symphony of the Night. Although they have used the term Project Zircon for arcade machines and other commercial prize-winning game machines. So it's not necessarily for a console game. And then if you remember, Konami's barely made a video game in like a decade. So, but they announced a bunch of Silent Hill titles late last year. So, what do you think about Project Zircon?
I really don't understand what the story is other than they trademarked a fucking title.
Well, people are thinking because Zircon's an item. Like normally, with these project titles, a lot of times they have connection. Like the original Star Wars was called Blue Harvest, and in the movie, if you look closely, they're drinking blue milk, and so it's stuff like that where there's like something tentative that to these project titles. It's not always the case. Like Psychonauts 2, its project title was Grasslands, um, which has nothing to do with going inside people's brains whatsoever. But
I think people are just reading too much into things. I mean, they could be right, they could be wrong, but what does it matter? You read too much into it and you think you're right about something, and then you kind of be wrong, and then you're just disappointed.
yeah,
So that's why I
that's
don't
true.
speculate. That's why I don't speculate on games. Like, I'm a very firm believer in I'll believe it when I see it, or pretty much just I'll believe when I see it. So
Yeah.
people can speculate all they want, but I'm not gonna believe a single thing until I actually see something.
Well, I have no dog in the game as far as Castlevania. I've played like 2 Castlevanias in my life, and they were okay. So I have no problem with speculating because my feelings aren't getting hurt. They're making a new Castlevania. I'm calling it right now. They're they've announced that they're doing something with Silent Hill. They're making 4 Silent Hill games. I say they're making. They're franchising it out to other studios to make for them.
Right.
They said they've hinted, they haven't really said, they've hinted at doing Metal Gear Solids. Whether they actually do that or not because of the tenuous, let's just say, relationship between them and Kojima, is a whole other bag of worms. But um, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to what they've been doing. They've realized, oh, hey, you know what? We can actually make some money on these video games or e-games. We can make some. If we make these we can we can make some money. We can, we're making money on these pachinko machines. You know what? Video games have pachinko mechanics now. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna say that they're doing the damn thing.
Just
What's
love
up?
that term, e-game. This is so stupid.
Yeah, e-games. Uh, trying to find some bigger news, and there wasn't a whole lot of bigger news. Oh, this one is really gross.
Oh, lovely.
The Pokemon Company is hiring someone with deep knowledge of NFTs and the metaverse. It wants to be deeply connected to a network of investors in those spaces. The role's duties include leading the identification, assessment, and execution of investments, strategic projects, and partnerships to support the company's long-term growth in monitoring and assessing technology and market players and trends in gaming, media, and entertainment. Uh, yeah. Gotta catch them all, right? Gotta catch all them NFTs and ugh.
Yeah, sometimes I'm really impressed with what the internet can come up with, and then you just hear shit like NFTs, and you're just like, fucking.
Yeah,
I just I'm very disappointed in the human race.
yeah. Just you know, uh, we've mentioned before our hatred of them, and we've also mentioned before that more than likely that is going to be the future, whether we like it or
I highly doubt it.
not. But this uh, this whole thing is, you know, blockchain is terrible, just terrible for the environment and terrible for gamers if you really think about it, because you know what they're using to mine crypto? They're using graphics cards, which keeps the graphic cards out of gamers' hands. And then they're like, oh, gamers, you'll really love this. You know, the thing that's keeping you from being able to do anything. Ugh. And then you got NFTs, which again is basically blockchain like crypto, but you can buy a picture and it's your, it's your picture. Metaverse just doesn't make any sense to me. Why why would I want to put on a VR headset essentially and go into this world to, you know, go to meetings and, hang out when I can just hop on Discord like we are right now
Hmm.
and do that? Like that already exists. I don't need to.
And if you do want to do that, why don't you just fucking like go to VR chat or something?
Yeah. And not only that, if you really think about it, uh Minecraft and Roblox and even fuck it, Fortnite, they're basically already metaverse.
Hmm.
But they're trying to promote it as this big thing that's already really existed for a while and trying to force it into the ecosystem, and that's what I have issue with. And then you've got all this AI shit where they're stealing art from artists, and they're making deep fakes, which I've watched some of those Trump and Biden video game videos, which are
It's just
funny.
it's just great. I love those.
But at the same time, it's really scary because yeah, you can notice some differences in their tone of voice and stuff. You can tell it's very robotic, but we're still in the early stages. Like there's still more development to be had, and eventually we won't know what's real and what's not real. That's
Right.
terrifying to me. Um, and it just sucks that Pokemon Company is out here looking for a cheap buck, even though it's been clear over and over that gamers don't want that. And they've never wanted that. And they never will want that. Okay, Microsoft announces a 10-year partnership to bring Xbox games to cloud service Boosteroid. You ever used Boosteroid?
I am not.
I'm looking at their logo, and their logo seriously reminds me of the USS Enterprise. Like it's a circle with three separate lines, but the way the lines are arranged, it looks like the body of the Enterprise. The circle is the disc on top, and then the other two lines are the propulsion. Uh, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. And this, of course, like many of their other partnerships that they've made, uh, is to push its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, or as I am going to start calling it, acquisition. Because Activision. Anyway, so that way they can, convince people. Oh yeah, we're gonna be really cool. We're gonna be cool people. It states that its acquisition of Activision Blizzard will if it goes ahead, partnership will see Call of Duty being added to Boosteroid 2. It reiterated it wants to bring Call of Duty to more than 150 million additional players, which is crazy to think about because Call of Duty already reaches like 150 million players by itself. They're going to be bringing Call of Duty also to Switch and GeForce Now's service, which is another cloud-based service. Look, they've been saying for a while. Microsoft has been saying for a while that it's all about bringing the games to as many people. Like you know their motto is like every way to play or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They've said that. That being said, because a lot of people are asking, are these deals exclusively for the regulators? And yes, it is. Yes and no, I will say. It is for the regulators, but I think it's one of those situations. If they haven't already proposed stuff like this to those, companies, they would have anyway. But it's one of those things. It's like, oh well, they turned down our offer. Oh well, I guess they don't get those. One of those things where they offered, but if you don't accept their offer, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna move on then. Whereas now they kind of have to make a push. They have to actually negotiate rather than just put out a deal and hope for the best.
Right.
Because I mean, the Activision, the acquisition, was January of last year. I mean, they brought two Xbox characters to Smash. Like they made deals for that. I can't speak to whether or not this was prior to the acquisition, but because deals often are made well before any announcements are. But there's Xbox games on Nintendo Switch's Nintendo Switch Online N64 packs because Xbox now owns Rare, and so Rare really carried the N64. So you're talking they agreed to bring Banjo-Kazooie to Nintendo Switch. They agreed to bring uh, 007 GoldenEye to Switch. Both those games are there. Not only that, they gave Nintendo the online multiplayer for that game. You can't play online on Xbox. You can only play online with Switch. So, like, was that prior to the acquisition or was it after? I don't know, but they were making deals prior to that, so I could see it being, them proposing and oh well, they said no. So now it's oh they said no. Let's write up a new deal and see if they say yes to that. So, pretty sad story next. Lance Reddick.
For a second, I thought you were like iterating about the story you just told me. Like, pretty sad story. Next, I'm like, damn.
No. Lance Reddick, the actor behind Zavala, and I'm sure several other games, has died at the age of 60.
Yeah, I heard about that last night.
Yeah. He was in The Wire. He was in John Wick. He was in Horizon Forbidden West, Quantum Break. He was everywhere. His cause of death is currently unclear, but our law enforcement say it appears to be natural. Just everything I've heard about him was he was a light to many people. And it's sad to see anybody die, but especially someone with his talent and resume and all of that. So I think that's it for us today. It's been a little bit of a rough week for it's been a little bit of a rough week for me in general. So I wasn't nearly as prepared for this podcast as previous podcasts. So yeah, I apologize for the brevity, but I promise to be a little bit more prepared next week. Matthew, why don't you go ahead and take us out? All right.
You got it, boss. If you liked or even if you didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things, like hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell at the XofPlays on YouTube, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. And I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefing room, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.